So just beginning to settle here, thinking about anything that comes up for you right now. Perhaps there was a lot going on in the day. Perhaps there's something that's on your mind. Just noticing that that's there. That's okay that that's there. And recognizing that that might be something that you choose to put in the background during our practice today, sort of setting off to the side, whatever that might be. It will be there when we finish practicing, so no need to carry it into the practice. And beginning to soften your face, softening your forehead, allowing your eyes to be heavy, eyelids to be heavy. Taking the tip of your tongue right behind the two top front teeth. Allowing any tension that might be there in the jaw to soften. Allowing the shoulders to melt away from the ears. The elbows to be heavy if they're not supported on an armrest. And just taking your hands wherever you'd like, on that armrest or on your knees, on your thighs, whatever feels comfortable for you. And just beginning to notice this sense of settling in. Allowing gravity to have you grounded into your seat. But also noticing, if you're sitting, noticing a bit of extension through the spine and the crown of the head, just reaching towards the sky just a little bit. So we've got this sense of maybe sitting as a mountain, nice and strong and tall, but also being grounded in our seat at the same time. So we're not striving for anything here necessarily, just letting our body sit as it was meant to. And just beginning to tune into your breath here. Noticing whatever is there. Noticing what it's like for you in this moment to take your attention to your breath. Noticing where you're feeling your breath most predominantly. Noticing the gaps between the breath. And then as you feel steady in the breath, just drawing your awareness out a little bit and checking in with your body. What are you noticing about how your body is in this moment? Just sort of doing a quick scan. You notice about how your body's feeling, about being in your seat, about this sense of slowing down and creating some stillness in your day. Noticing any tension that might be in your body. Noticing any desire to make anything different here. Is there a sense of needing to move away into something more interesting? Or perhaps not. Perhaps this place that you're in right now in this moment feels pleasant. Perhaps it feels more towards unpleasant, meaning there's something else that's gathering your attention or that is capturing you right now. Just noticing any of that might be happening. Not needing to make it different or to evaluate it, just noticing what that is like for you. And as you begin to notice these things, allowing yourself to come back to your breath when you notice yourself kind of getting attached to this idea of pleasant and unpleasant and this need for something different. You notice that happening, coming back to your breath. Checking in with your belly on your next breath and releasing any tension that might be sitting there. Let that belly be nice and soft. Noticing what that feels like to let the belly be nice and soft. Again, it might feel uncomfortable. It might feel like a sense of release. Just noticing what that feels like for you. Allowing that breath on the inhale to draw into the belly, into that soft belly. What does that feel like compared to a tense belly? perhaps playing with that a little bit here for a few breaths. Just noticing any change in your breath cycle with a soft belly compared to a tense belly. Without having to do anything specific with the breath, just notice what it feels like to fill up the belly, continue that inhale up through the lungs. And as you exhale, noticing the shoulders perhaps drawing away from the ears a little bit more, a sense of release in the body on that exhale. I sometimes like to envision sort of a wave-like pattern as my breath comes in to my belly, filling up the lungs. And as I exhale, feeling sort of that wave-like pattern in my body, without having to strive or make the breath be a particular way. If you've noticed a brand new baby breathing, you will see the breath very clearly come in all the way through the body and out through the body in this wave-like pattern. So no effort or trying necessarily here, just being with the breath, noticing the breath as it comes into your body and out of your body. And as you start to connect with thoughts as they come in, just notice those and come back to your breath. It's no problem for these thoughts to come in. And it's really the practice of coming back to the breath as those thoughts come in that sort of build this sense of sort of empowerment. They build this sense of agency, if you will. This ability to come back to what our intention is in any moment. When we're out and about in our day and perhaps something comes our way that is distracting, or something that feels urgent comes up, and we notice ourselves responding immediately, reacting immediately to whatever external thing has come up. Over time, if we allow ourselves to fall into that trap, there's not a lot of self agency that we are able to sort of demonstrate because we end up getting caught up in whatever it is that comes our way, as opposed to knowing that we can come back to whatever it was in the moment that we were intending to take our attention to. Now, certainly there are emergencies that happen, of course, but for most of us, we get distracted and derailed and pulled away from our intention several times a day for things that probably aren't needing to have our attention in that moment. So, this practice of coming back to the breath in our meditation develops capacity for us to come back to our intention as we move through our day. And as we've done in previous practices, as we get a little derailed in our practice, coming back to that point in our breath cycle that feels most dominant to us. So, again, whether that's the soft belly, sort of this reminder of, oh, yes, soft belly, I got distracted for a second, I'll come back to soft belly. Or perhaps it's a focus on the breath moving through the lungs or the air on the nose as the breath enters the body and leaves the body. So, taking your attention to that spot in the cycle of your breath. And resting there. Knowing that we can always come back to this place as we get into spaces that create anxiety, frustration, sometimes confusion, anger. We can come back to our breath, to this same spot that we come to in our practice. Allowing us to regain steadiness. So that we're able to move on with our day moment to moment with greater ease. So if you're feeling steady here with your attention focused on your breath, widen that attention again and bringing it out into the whole body. What is it like to still be sitting here? What are you noticing about what you're wanting less of? and what you're wanting more of. And can you just sit with what that is for you? And what are you noticing about what you're doing with um, the thoughts and the emotions and the space that you were in prior to having us sit here in our practice? What are you noticing about that? Are those pieces in the background? Do they keep wanting and needing your attention? Do you find yourself going back to those pretty easily? It's okay. It's what we do. And what are you noticing that you are saying to yourself about that? At times, we can be pretty critical about ourselves when we're not doing whatever it is that we're doing the quote right way. Remembering here, the practice really is about coming back to breath. So if we've got these thoughts, these feelings, these sensations in the body that keep creeping up and trying to get our attention, that is an opportunity for us to come back to the breath. Really, no effort or trying here. We're just redirecting focus to the breath. No striving for anything in particular. And so, as we have widened our focus and checked in with all the other things that are going on in our body, in our thoughts, in our emotional states, how's your belly? Is it soft? Just noticing what your breath feels like now after being in our seat several minutes. What are you noticing about your breath right now? What are you noticing about how your body feels? Again, perhaps there's this sense of some discomfort being in this seat for as long as we've been. Perhaps there's a sense of nice relaxation in the body. Perhaps there's just this neutral sense of not really sure, sort of this sense of maybe not being stimulated enough. Just noticing if that comes up for you. What does that feel like to let yourself sit with this sense of neutral? Nothing might be grabbing your attention, or maybe it is and you're really wanting to move towards it. And what is that like? Noticing that and bringing your attention back to your breath. Allowing your face to soften, your shoulders to move just a tiny bit more away from your ears. Allowing gravity to settle you even a little bit more into your seat with this nice long spine, sense of strength through the spine, through the crown of the head. And as you take several more breaths here on your own, I am going to read a short poem. It is called Found. It says, maybe it's all utterly meaningless. Maybe it's all unutterably meaningful. If you want to know which, pay attention to what it means to be truly human in a world that half the time we're in love with and half the time scares the hell out of us. The unexpected sound of your name on somebody's lips. The good dream, the strange coincidence, the moment that brings tears to your eyes, the person who brings life to your life. Even the smallest events hold the greatest clues. So just allowing those words to sit with you as you go on about your day.